Hey, it's Friday, it's snowing, let's form check. Hey guys, welcome back to another Form Check Friday. It is finally snowing here in Boise. You can't see out the window. It's dumping, it's delightful. Clint is under my desk now, sleeping, but loves to run around in the snow, so it's just fun. I don't know if you guys, any of you have been up here, but coming from Los Angeles, it's a doable winter. It's like fun snow. It snows for a day, 2 days, you go and play, everything looks white and pretty, and then it melts off, and it's never like a big deal. I have heard that occasionally we get some crazy snowpocalypse events, but I haven't been here for one yet, so I'm just enjoying it. Heading up to the mountains tomorrow for a little night away, and I'm really looking forward to that. But you guys are here, and I'm here, and we're here to form check. One thing I wanted to talk to you about real quick, because I don't think I've mentioned it before, is on the Reddit page, we've been doing a fall fat loss challenge. I wanted to lose 10 pounds, and I knew that having some group accountability would make it more likely that I actually get it done. So I threw it out to you guys on Reddit, and a bunch of you signed up. About half of you stuck with it, but the ones that did are absolutely crushing it. We're coming into our third week of 11, and if you are interested in all at seeing what people have done, I made a little Excel spreadsheet, Google sheet, whatever. It's at hornstrength.com/FFC for Fall Fat Loss Challenge. And you can just see everybody. It's pretty simple. We just decided, what's your starting weight? How much weight do you want to lose? What's your goal? And then every week on Monday, they check in. And as you can see, if you scroll through this, we've got anything in red was a gain over the previous week. So it's like fat loss is. It's not linear usually. You have good weeks and bad weeks, but some of the guys and girls have been absolutely crushing it. I put our totals at the end. So we're at week 9. We've had a 10-pound loss, 13.8 pound loss, 9 pound loss, 9.7. So, and I am actually on track to hit my 10-pound goal before Christmas. So it's been cool, and it showed me a lot about just knowing that there's some people expecting you. You're gonna have to show up, and you're gonna have to report what happened, is keeping me more motivated. The other thing about it is there's this momentum that happens where in the beginning I was like, whatever, and then some of the guys and girls started showing me up, losing more weight, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm the guy running this thing, so I've got to be able to show them what the deal is. And so, and then I saw the fat loss, the weight started to go down, and it kept me motivated. So, I've got it dialed in. I'm very close to my goal, and I've got 3 weeks left. So anyway, just a fun thing. We might do that a couple times a year. Maybe we'll do like a bulking one or a strength PR one or something to keep everybody. It's, if you train, I train alone in my garage. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. And it's just nice you train harder, you focus on your diet more when you know there's a group that's cheering for you and expecting to see you deliver on your results. So it's been cool, like surprisingly cool. And I'm really proud of everybody who's participated and stuck with it. So, okay, that's enough about that. Let's get into the form checks and see what we're doing. I know we have some new people this week. We were off last week, so we got a number of submissions. My head is itching. As you guys know, I have not seen any of these, so we are all doing this together for the first time. Reddit was real funky over the last couple days, and I couldn't see comments were showing up in one place but not in the other, so it looks like it got sorted, but there's a lot of back and forth in the thread where I wasn't able to see things. Okay, so we're going to try and do this in an hour. That's my goal. And let's get right into it. We got Joe. Hey, Paul, I'd love a form check on my squat, please. On previous checks months ago, points to work on were setting the knees early and exaggerating the hip drive. I'm pretty happy with these. They felt good. I felt like my knees are static and I'm bouncing at the bottom nicely. This was 137K. From last Friday, I did 140 by 5. And for those of us in the US, he's in the 300s, which is great. On Monday, that went really well. Didn't want to record them as there was a dude on the next machine. Okay. Yeah, then you're that guy, you know, filming in the gym. The only thing I noticed is the bar doesn't sit level on my back. It's lower on the left side. You can see much closer to the pins on the right side. I don't think it's a problem, though, and it doesn't bother me. Okay, so I have the same thing. If you look at me, if you look at videos of me from directly behind, every single time the bar sits lower on my right side. It never bothered me, but because I have to shoot videos demonstrating techniques sometimes, I wanted to fix it, and the correction was I just make it feel higher on my right side. You have to do that with a lot of your lifts. If I describe to you what I'm thinking about when I'm squatting, it's like, it wouldn't make any sense, because it's like, okay, I'm going to lean over, but I'm also going to put more weight on my right knee, and I'm going to rotate. Like, I have to give myself these cues that are wrong. But the way that I pick them up is someone told me, like, you know, you're twisting, or you're not balanced at the bottom. And so in my head, I have to make it feel like I've got more weight on one leg, and then people who watch tell me it looks even. And you have to do that sometimes. Like, you have to figure out what your, you know, asymmetries are, and then you have to make it feel weird to you, but then when you watch the video, it looks correct. So, if it's not hurting you and it's not throwing off your balance, I wouldn't worry too much about it. The only thing I'll say is, if you want to play around with it, you probably will do what I do, which is just, you get under it, you find the position on your, you know, the normal side. In your case, what'd you say? The bar sits lower on the left. So you get it locked in on the right, and then you just bump it up a little bit on the left. Like, just make it feel a little bit higher than it should to you, and then it'll probably be correct. So easy fix, not anything you need to overthink. Okay, so let's take a look and see the squat here. All right, let me turn the volume down. Okay. Bar, I mean, you know, bar looks pretty good. All right, so I'm going to watch a couple of these, get a feel for it, and then we'll dive in. All right, if you notice your elbows moving around a lot, down and then up, right? Head up. You got a lot of movement in the upper body, which is something so you're tight, and then you go down, the elbows pull in right? So you're rounding your upper back and bringing the elbows down. That whole segment from your head to your hip shouldn't move. I should see nothing from your head to your hip moving as you go down. And this is a very common problem we see. I'm going to close this a little bit. Bear with me. It's getting a little bright. So it's very common. We see exactly what you're doing. You'll see a guy go down, his chest is up, right? And then as he goes down, the elbows come in, the wrists bend, the shoulders collapse. And that means you're losing the position that you're trying to set right here. So when you puff your chest up, I don't know what that was. It was just you kind of wrenching on the bar. But if this is your start position here, which is fine, chest is up, I can see the little wrinkles, the extension in your upper back, which is great. The goal is from here to here, this whole segment, nothing deforms, nothing changes, the elbows don't move, the wrists don't move, you just hinge over at the waist, right? So that's something we got to fix. So you'll see the elbows pull down and then lift them back up. Now, one of the things that's going to happen with that over time with the thumbless grip, or the thumbs on top grip, is you're very likely to get tendonitis. With any type of wrist movement, elbow movement, that flexing and extending of the wrists that's happening is the cause of tendonitis when you're squatting. It's like the number one way that people get tendonitis from strength training is squatting with the thumbs on top grip and then allowing the wrist to move. And sometimes it's very subtle, it's imperceptible, but just even the slightest bit can really piss off the tendons in your elbow. So quick, easy fix really is to use the thumbs around grip, which is what I advocate now. I'm done with the thumbs on top grip unless I have a client who likes it and is coming from, you know, some experience and they just feel comfortable and they don't have any problems. But for pretty much everybody now, I just switch them to the thumbs around grip. The wrists stay bent, the bar kind of just sits there, and it eliminates the potential for that tendonitis. So that is one of the issues that we got to fix. And let's see if the bar is, yeah, you can see you're losing this extension in your upper back. The elbows come down, right? And they move under the bar, and your shoulders round, right? Which is not the position you want. You want this same chest up, elbows up position that you had at the top, at the bottom. The other problem is you got knee slide and you're not hitting depth, and those two things are related. So if we take a look and you watch your knees right here, as you hit the bottom, you're gonna see them jut forward. So you're doing good, you got them forward, but you didn't finish it and you didn't sit back. And so what you're gonna see is they're gonna pop forward. They may even move past this post right here. Nope, not much, but if you just watch right at the bottom, so you're leaning over, great. You're getting your knees forward and out, great, but not enough. And so you're sliding forward. You notice you're kicking your head back. That has to do with the losing the upper back position. So let's watch this again, but pay attention to your knees right at the bottom, right? You see how it's even more helpful if you watch this angle right here on your ankle. You'll see it close a little bit, okay? So the fix here is, let me see if I can pause this. You're good here, right? Okay, maybe you probably could have put your knee a little more forward, right? But from this position, this second half of the descent, so the first half is knees forward and out, and the second half is hips back and down. Knees forward and out, hips back and down. Okay, so after this point, all you're thinking about is leave my knees here and stretch my hips back, right? You can even think, I sometimes tell clients, toes, heels. So the pressure, and again, the caveat, the ultimate goal is midfoot the whole time, but sometimes it helps to think about overcorrecting. So on the way down, as you shove your knees forward and out, pressure goes to your toes. The second half of the descent, hips back and down, pressure comes back to your heels. The net change is midfoot the whole time. Okay, so you need to be thinking here is this, you're just reaching back. Okay, you're trying to stretch out these adductors. You're trying to increase the distance between your kneecap, which is here, and basically your pelvis, which is here, because that's this on the inside of your thigh is the adductor, and that's the rubber band we're trying to stretch. So you just need to think about this way, right? Just leaving the knee there and pulling the hip back as far as you can. And that's going to give you more of a bounce. But you're going down and forward into the bottom. So you're kind of bouncing off your knees instead of bouncing off your hips. All right. So couple things for you to fix, right? Notice the difference. Notice the elbow position here, right? You get your elbows down. They used to be up like this, right? And so you can see this gap right in here, this space from where you let go of this position. You rounded it like that. Okay. So that's more instability, and it's going to switch your focus from thinking about the bounce and the drive up to this bar is starting to roll and I don't know why. I need to throw my head back and save it. Okay, so how do you fix this? Easy. You are gonna go to hornstrength.com/videos. Oops, and let me move me out of the way, and you're gonna come to pause squats. Okay, pause squats and bounce pause squats. So both of these links will take you to a YouTube video. There's a full description of the instructions in the YouTube description. Okay, And I've talked about, you probably already know about this, but I want you to do both. Okay. Pause squat, where you just go down there and pause for 3 seconds. And that's the one where you're going to check, is my weight forward? Did I shift forward at the bottom when I should have been shifting back? And is my chest still up? Is my chest still arched, or did I lose it? And you've got those 3 seconds to check it, correct it. Oh, you know what? This is the right chest position. Okay, that feels good. And then come back up. And then every rep after that, you're trying to basically go to that balanced, perfect bottom position without having to make any adjustments. You just go down there and you're bored. You're just sitting there for 3 seconds, and then you come back up because everything's perfect. So that's how you're going to fix the upper back and the balance. And then the bounce pause squat is the same thing, 3-second pause, but before you come back up, you bounce your hips up and down a few times. And that's going to show you where that bounce is. And the first time you do it, if you do it the way you're squatting right now, you're going to feel all that bounce in your knees. But when you realize, oh, I need to shift my weight back a little bit and then bounce, that rebound is going to shift from the knees into your groin. And that's the right position. So empty bar, right? And first set with weight as part of your warm-ups. Every single time you're going to do an empty bar set, just pause. And then the second set of 5, you can do paused and bounce. But pay attention to the feeling of balance and tightness at the bottom, where everything is up and tight and out and balanced. And then when you're going through your heavier work sets, you're looking for that. If you don't feel that same position, that same perfect balance, it's wrong. And you can fix it on the next rep. Okay? That's how I would fix it if you were a client of mine. I would just have you do those, and after a week or 2, you would get it. You'd be like, oh, now I feel what it is. And then also I would consider switching to the thumbs around grip. That's going to allow you to get your hands in a little closer and then kind of keep that arch up a little bit better, and it'll minimize this elbow movement, right? So thumbs around grip, wrists are supposed to be bent. And I always tell people, it sucks at first if you're not used to it. It feels like your wrists are going to snap. Give it 3 workouts. Commit to 3 workouts. Figure out where it feels good. Play around with it. You want most of the weight on your back, a little bit in your hands, but most of it in your back. And after 3 workouts, you'll get the hang of it. Okay? Hope that helps. Work on that stuff. Let's see another one where nothing moves from the head to the hip, and I think you'll be good to go. Overall, very good, and you look pretty jacked, man. So keep doing what you're doing. Okay, let's move on to our next guy. Saj 133 asked for help, or said thanks for being a help on the squat form, and then didn't post a link. So next time you got to post a video. Okay, we're gonna move on. All right, next up we got Georgie. Paul, here's my last set of volume squats, 287 by 5. We got a lot of kilos. You guys are not in the US, which is cool. And thank you for doing the conversion for me. Okay, I tend to have different problems show up at different times. Knee slides, going to my toes, no hip drive, lack of sufficient depth, to name the most common. Let's see what comes out of this one. All right, man. Sounds like you got them all. You got all the problems. That's okay. I mean, that looked pretty good to me. Depth is fantastic. Head is down. You're doing a good job of setting and holding. Dude, my man, these are pretty good. A little bit forward on that one. Let's see. I mean, even in the grind, even in the last rep where things tend to fall apart, you're holding it together like really well. Okay, so this first rep you kind of rushed. You went down a little too fast, right? It's the first rep, so I'm not that concerned about it. And I don't know, I didn't see you walk it out, so I don't know how long you were standing there. But the speed of this descent is a little bit faster than I want. And I think you corrected on the other reps. So the first rep is always going to be like, you're still kind of warming up. So I don't really even bother coaching the first rep. Because most of the times the problems will go away on the second rep. So usually I just shut up and see if I see the same thing on the second rep, and then I'll make a comment. But see, that's a little bit better speed-wise, control, cadence on the way down. If you go down too quickly, it just means you're loose, and you don't want to be loose. You want to go quickly on the way up, as quickly as you can with all that weight on your back, but you want to control it on the way down and explode on the way up. So slow and controlled on the way down, fast and explosive on the way up. And so you got to fight the weight a little bit. Like, you're not dropping to the bottom, you're stretching into the bottom, like you're pulling a bench press down, right? You're pulling the bar apart, stretching out these tight rubber bands. It's like a fight. You don't want to just like drop the bar, because then you've got to tighten up. So I would just slow down the descent a little bit. I'm really nitpicking here though, because overall, like, your depth is like spot on, man. I mean, it's fantastic. Like, look at this bottom position. Crease below it. I mean, it's even a little too deep, but don't worry about that. As it gets heavier, you'll creep up. But the head position, I'm always harping on you guys for the head position. Your head is down, knees are out, shoulders, chest is up and tight, right? And then look at the way up. I may have to save this video as an example. Hip drive, like you're driving your butt. You're looking up a little bit there. You kind of lifted your head a little bit when you got stuck, but let's see the halfway point. Let's see if you set your, okay, look at that. So you're about halfway down here. Look at your back angle, right? And then it's the same on the way, which is what I'm always yelling at guys for. Like, your back angle by the halfway point of the descent should be the same as it is on the way up. You should set that position by the time you're halfway down and keep it. And you're doing a great job of that, a little bit forward. And it's hard to tell from this angle, but you might be having a little bit of knee cave. And I think you might have mentioned that. It kind of looks like they might be coming in a little bit. Let's watch what your hips do. Yeah, so typically if we get knee cave, we're going to see the hips go back and up, not just straight up. So the knees cave in and the hips make this like circular motion. You're not bad. And that causes the lifting of the chest a little too early. Forget that one. It's okay. But the rest of them, boom, nice pop there. So here's what I would say. I think that the other thing I'm thinking about is, I know you're in lifting shoes, but your feet look a little unstable. Like, they just kind of look like they're rocking more than I noticed it, which is weird because I usually don't notice it. And you see that in running shoes. So I don't know if yours are like really old or worn in some weird way, or even the mat isn't. I mean, that should be I think you're at Brussels. So I think, if you've got an unstable foot position, that throws a lot, or unstable foot like surface to be on, that can throw things off. So I'm just throwing that out there. If you're like, yeah, these shoes are like 10 years old and they're U-shaped, like maybe some new shoes would help, but I could be just seeing things. But you notice you're kind of rocking around a little bit. Like, normally in a good weightlifting shoe, you just be solid. So I assume, Steve, these are regular stall mats that aren't squishy at all, which is what you want. But really, really good here. So here's what I'll tell you. So I can see that your chin has lifted and your gaze is probably like that. I want your eyes about here. So I want you to look about 6 inches to a foot right in front of your toes. Okay. And just like more straight down. Keep your eyes on that point the whole time. And one, that'll help with your balance. It'll also help you keep your chin tucked. And two, you'll be able to see your knees out of your peripheral vision. You'll be able to see them moving around, as you start driving up. If you see them cave in, you'll notice it, and you can use your brain to shove them back out. You got to practice this with every warm-up set, right? But if you're looking out there, you can't really see what your knees are doing down here. But if you look like a foot in front of your toes, you'll see them move around, okay? So just moving the eye gaze down will help with balance, and it'll help with because I think the knee cave is probably the only issue that you have. Aside from that, these look fantastic, man. So really good work, and try that. Let me know if it helps, and post another video, and we'll keep going. But I think based on what you said here, I think you might be overthinking this, or Steve's done a good job working with you on, I'm assuming you're on Brussels barbell. Knee slide, going to my toes, no hip drive, lack of sufficient depth. You don't have a lack of sufficient depth. Your hip drive is great. You do have a little knee cave, and then you did go to your toes on the first rep, but I think you just went too fast. So slow it down, move your gaze 6 inches to a foot in front of your toes, watch the knees, make sure on the way up, people are real good about shoving their knees out on the way down, but when they think about the hip drive, they take their focus off the knees and the knees cave in, and you get this circular motion. So if you can just keep those jacked out, I think you'll be good to go. But great video, man. Like, I think you're doing really well. Okay, let's go. We'll move on here. Dick is back. My man, back from more punishment. Having worked on thoracic extension for my homework from last week. Having worked on thoracic extension, my homework from last week was look down and stay looking down, not flicking the head as I brace, bending over sooner on the way down, and staying in my hips longer on the way up. I think I'm getting there, but I still notice the bar is rolling back and forth on my shoulders. This is the first set of 3 at 147 kilos. Interesting, because of my commitments that day, I actually trained around 8 o'clock in the evening compared to my usual 6 a.m. session. I'm convinced this makes a difference to my motivation levels being up for it. Okay, quick aside here. So I ran a gym for many years, and I cannot lift weights in the morning. I mean, there was one period in my life when I was going through a breakup that I just couldn't sleep, and I would go to the gym at like 6 a.m. But I can't touch weight before the 4 p.m. really. It just doesn't feel right to me. But you got to run a gym with professionals who, executives, busy people. They know, like, if I'm going to get pulled into a meeting at 5 o'clock and I'm going to miss my workout every time. So I just got to get it out of the way first thing in the morning. And then the rest of the day, at least I'll have gotten my workout done. So you have to have morning hours in a commercial gym. And so I was in there, 5:30, 6 in the morning. But so many times what would happen is you get a guy who's a dedicated morning guy, and he misses a workout for some reason, and he texts you and he says, "Hey, can I come to the evening session?" And he comes to the evening session for the first time. He crushes everything, like great workout, and he like never goes back to the morning. So our morning sessions we just keep filtering, because it's 6 in the morning. You're not even awake. Your joints aren't lubricated. And then in the evening, you've been running around all day. You've had some food. You feel loose, and almost every time you're going to have a better workout in the evening. That being said, you train, if you can only train in the morning, you train in the morning. But most people lift weight better at night or late afternoon. Late afternoon's kind of weird because you get a little sleepy, but I get a second wind in the evening. So when I was running my gym, I would train it after our session, like 8, 9 o'clock. So anyway, let's take a look and see how you did. Okay. So glad Dick's back. Missed him. Okay, here we go. Hit me. All right. Ooh, okay. Still head flicking. My man, look where you're looking right now, right? Look at your eyes. They're here-ish. I don't know. We can just look at we can look at your head position, right? And then when we play it, now where are you looking? Straight down here. So it's better, but you're going from kind of here to here. All right. That's your spot. This spot right here. Just just do that. Just when you're sorry, man. You're fun. Okay. Look. You're looking at it right now. See, you're looking at your feet right now because you want to make sure your stance is good. Don't look up. You're already looking in the right place, right? Where are you looking now? You're kind of like, if you're looking at that spot, it's like your head right there. Look at this. Where are you? Where are your eyes? They're like here, but you were here and you're going to go back to here. Just don't take your eyes off that spot. Or during this breath, move it here, and then so it's not happening right there. It's like lean over and find my spot. Lean over, so I'm already moving and I'm gonna find my spot. Find your spot, then just lean over. And you can gauge the distance to that spot and the balance, all of the things that we want. If you just change the order, just take your breath, look down, and then go. That's it. You can, here, I'll say that again. You can record it and you can play it in your headphones or your speaker. Dick, take a breath, find your spot, lean over. Just put that on loop and play that before every rep. All right, good depth. Lifting the chest a little early. There, it's set. Yeah, so we were talking about getting your back angle set, and that's great. Look, so let me give you some kudos here, right? Okay, back angle halfway down. Let's watch it right there, okay? Let's look at back angle halfway up. Like, same. So you nailed it. That's what we need. Yeah, little bit of the scoop, right? So a little bit of hips back end up. Sorry, it's like, I don't know what. It's snowy outside, so it's bright for some reason. So I'm just gonna change. Oh, okay. So little scoop with the hips, right? And it's just, you could see it. You could totally see it with the knees. Let me slow this down for you real slow. Okay, watch the knees here. This knee right here. Whoop. You just see it nudge in a little bit. And that's what's causing we've talked about this a million times before. That's what's causing the slight scooping. Okay. But overall, man, like, these are good. These are better. We're on the right track. Let's just watch one more time. All right. I'm going to watch it through, see what happens. Yeah. Held on to the back angle there. Yeah, and so that's why you're shifting onto your heels a little bit, because of the knee cave. So basically that comes from a little bit of relaxation at the bottom, right? You're pushing your knees out really well on the way down. And then I just talked about this in the last form check. As you start to think about shift your focus to drive back up, you take your focus off the knees, right? And so you kind of relax them. It's like you're shifting where you're pushing. Your focus was on pushing out, and now you have to focus on pushing up. You have to focus on pushing out and up at the same time. So I actually don't even want you to think about hip drive anymore. I want 100% of your focus as you come up out of the bottom to be on keeping the knees out. Don't worry, the hip drive is embedded. You know how to do hip drive. It's gonna happen, right? So let's focus on the thing that's not happening, which is the knees staying out where they need to be. So just find your spot, take your breath, find your spot, lean over. You're doing a great job leaning over. You're doing a great job hanging onto that back angle. The only thing you need to fix, right, is as I start driving my hips up, the knees they want to come in, they have to stay out. So don't worry about pushing your hips up, worry about pushing your knees out on the way up. Okay, that's it. Don't think hip drive, think knee out drive, whatever you have to think about. And just focus on that. And I promise everything else will fall into place. You won't have to get out of your hips as early as you are on some of these reps, because that comes from knee cave, hips go back, weight shifts back, lean over more, save it by lifting my chest. If the knees stay where they need to be, right, out, and the balance stays over your midfoot, then you're not going to shift back. You're just going to come straight up. So it's kind of weird because we were talking about the other problem of going forward. Now we're back to going back a little bit. So, but it's not much. Your knees aren't like buckling in. It's this little bit of relaxation, and you can't afford any relaxation. Everything has to stay tight. So you will not have to think about this forever. They will, they'll stay out once you embed this movement pattern, this thing in your head, but you're going to have to focus on this thing for a little bit. Okay. So excellent work, and just work on that. And then let's post another one. But these are great, man. You did a good job. Like you're on track here. And the weight, what is that? 147? Yeah, it's good, man. So let's keep it going. But pause squats, right? Like as part of your warm up, I know we've talked about it, just make sure you're doing those so that in that pause, as you come out, you can feel, okay, they're out where they need to be in the pause. Can I keep them out as I drive my butt up? All right. So always, every session, at least 1 or 2 sets with the empty bar of pause squats. Okay. Good work, man. Good to see you. Miguel said I could go look at his, what do you say? I stopped submitting form checks for a while since I got a powerlifting coach for some time now, but feel free to review my training log. All right. If I'm running low on submissions. Okay. I assume that's on your profile. Dropping weight from the cutting challenge. I don't think you've logged into the cutting challenge, but maybe I've got your name wrong. He strongly suggested not drop weight and only do a very light recomp. Yeah, of course not. Like, why would it? Powerlifting coach doesn't want you to lose weight. You're going to, it's going to make you, it seem like his programming isn't working. You're going to, because, you usually get weaker if you cut enough body weight, and you're going to be running his new program that you're paying him for. He's telling you, like, and then you're like, dude, it's not working. It's like, yeah, well, nothing's going to work if you're cutting serious amount of weight. So light recomp is a good call. It's up to you though, but if you're hiring a guy and paying him, like, just do what he says, because that's why you hired him. All right. So thank you for that. I'll check if I ever run low. And let me know what happens with the coach. Like, I want to see before and after, and like, what your numbers are doing and your programming. That'd be cool. Maybe I could check your training log. All right, man. Neil, DrKudos. Neil, I think it's Neil. I'm going to get this right one day. I'm looking for some feedback on my bench. Then maybe we can get back to perfecting my squat. I don't think there's anything more we could do with that squat. It is now perfect from what I remember. All right, let's take a look here. Bench press. All right. All right. A little unstable here. But look at this elbow angle here. All right. This. Okay. I can't see the other side, but this is kind of at an angle like this, which means your elbows are flaring. Okay. They're flaring on the way up, and we don't want to do that. Your wrists also look a little too bent, which is a little inefficient. We'll talk about that. And you're bringing it down a little too slow. So this is a good one. Let's see. Let's go back and see it from the unracking. All right, so you're here. You're going to take a big breath. Okay, so watch this. Watch your chest here. This is important, okay? Pay attention to your chest and watch as you bring it down. You're going to lift it up more. See that? See, you arched it right there at like you're bringing it up to meet the bar. This is the same thing as getting your back extended in the squat before you start moving, before you start the rep. This is the same thing as squeezing your chest up in the deadlift before you try and lift the weight. You want to be on all the lifts, you want to be in the right position, that, you know, the optimal position with everything tight, and then move the bar. So the fact that on the way down while the bar is in motion, you can arch your back up, your chest up even more, means you didn't arch it enough in the beginning. The deal with the bench press, it's a very simple exercise, but stability is like, I mean, this is all the lifts, but stability is really important. So the idea is you want to get everything just locked tight, and you have all this time, because, you know, you can sit there with the elbow joints locked versus the press where you're holding it down here and tiring out your muscles. You get there, you get your chest up, you get everything perfect and tight and balanced, and then all you're doing, you're just moving the elbows. Nothing else is moving. Elbows just down, elbows come back up. That's how you really dial in the bench press. And if you look at yours, you're arching on the way down. You got all this elbow movement, right? The shoulders and elbow, even the legs. Like you just kicked your legs around. Like watch your knees. See that? You like lifted your heels up so they're not locked in. And so really this is just a matter of stability. Okay? So the more tight and stable you can be on the bench press, the easier it's going to be to lift the weight. And this is a good way to learn about tightness for the other lifts, because it's the same principle. The more tight and the more tension you can have throughout your entire body when in the squat, the more efficient, the less slop there's going to be, right? Slop is inefficient. Okay, press, deadlift, tension throughout the whole body. But the best way to learn about that is on the bench press, because you're kind of sitting there and you can really wedge yourself in. So, okay, a couple things. Let's dial this in real quick. So the first thing is your grip, right? Let's see how you do with the grip here. All right. So you notice how, I don't think I can do that. That didn't work. Maybe I can do this. Where am I? Whoop. Oh, let me zoom in. Ah, come on. There we go. Okay. So notice where the bar's sitting in your hand. All right. I actually want the bar over this point right here, kind of like this. So if you go and watch the videos on bench pressing on my channel or the Starting Strength channel, hornstrength.com/videos, you will see, turn this down a little bit. You'll see the same thing you do with the grip for the overhead press, right? You're here. If you grab it like this, parallel, and then take it out, it's going to sit back here. We want the weight sitting over your wrist, over your forearm, right? Because we're pushing the forearm up. This is just leverage between the bar and the forearm. So we want to be kind of like this. And the way that you do that is you go like this, and then you turn and you get the bar in this little divot here, right? And then you squeeze, and when you come down, the bar will kind of sit right over the heel of the hand here, right over the forearm, okay? So you put your hands on the bar like this, and then you turn like this. I'm gonna do it like this. And you turn like this, you'll feel it click into this little groove, and then you just squeeze, and this is the important part. After you squeeze, when you come under the bar in the press, or you go to take it out of the rack, you turn the metal. Don't loosen the grip and let your hand move around, because you'll undo what you just did, okay? So here, turn, like find your distance, turn, squeeze, and then you rotate the metal, and it'll sit right here, and your wrist will be a lot straighter. So that'll get rid of that leverage and make it more efficient. Okay, and then the next thing is, once you're here, actually, let me go back. I also want you to get your feet more tucked in, because we said your legs are moving around. So here's the deal, right? The way that you lock yourself in on the bench press is you get where you want to be, get your chest up, and then you start walking your feet back, okay? So if this is the floor and this is your heel, okay? You walk your foot back until your heel lifts up off the ground about an inch. Like you'll pull it back far enough, it'll have to come up about an inch, okay? And then you wedge your heel down on the ground. You force it down, and you'll feel your quads tighten up real tight, okay? And then from there, you're locked in, right? Because your chest is up, you're pulling your shoulder blades together. You've got that stable balance point on the scapula right here. And you take this, your leg and you walk it back this way and then wedge it down, and the whole system will be like a tight bow. And you'll be locked in, like no wiggling, completely rigid, right? That with the grip, you're stable. All you got to think about is moving the elbows up and down. Okay. So, fix the grip, fix the chest, like get locked in, chest up, feet back, wedged in. And then you won't even be able to raise your chest up because you'll have locked it in with the feet. Okay. And that grip change is going to fix this. It should fix this elbow travel, right? This flaring. And then, okay, let me just say this. So once you're locked in and tight, right? You got the grip, you got your chest up, okay? You're not just dropping the bar down. You're controlling it down. You're fighting it. They used to, in powerlifting, they say, like, think about pulling the metal apart, right? You're trying to stretch the pecs out here. So you don't want to just like drop it down real quick. It's like you're pulling back on rubber bands in here, right? You're stretching, pulling back this slingshot, and then boom, right? It hits its maximal stretch and then it fires up. So slow and controlled on the way down, right? Feel you're stretching down into the bottom under control, right? Because any looseness and you're going to lose that, the bar path is going to be wiggly. That's inefficient, right? So you're locked in tight, you bring it down slow, you touch the chest, and then you fire it straight up. Elbows come, stay under the wrist basically. So you're looking at like a 45-degree angle here. Okay. You don't want to be out here like this or like this, right? You want to be, and that'll happen automatically. If you get the shoulders back tucked in, you're just pulling down here like this, keeping the elbows in, like under the wrist. So not next to the ribs and not flaring out, just like right underneath your hands, all the way down, all the way up. Again, you're having a hard time with that because you've got this leverage on your wrist. Okay. So, let's work on that. Get tighter, get locked in, pull the feet back, fix your grip. So you've got the bar lower in your hand. And again, there's videos on it. If you look at the press part on hornstrength.com/videos down here for how to press and how to bench, both of those talk about that grip. Okay. That grip's really important for efficiency. And let's get you stable and then work on and see if those changes fix the rest of this stuff before I give you a list of things that'll probably just go away when you fix what I mentioned. Okay. But yeah, easy, but important. Like work on that stuff. Okay. Hey buddy, I know we're almost done. Clint's here. Okay. Let's keep going. We got two more. Okay. Let's see. Hey Paul, I'm requesting a form check on my squat. The problem with which I have dealt for a long time. I just can't seem to kick at heavier weights. It's coming too far forward with the weight. I can feel it already as I descend, and then when I drive my hips to go up, the shoulders aren't able to follow. As a result, my back goes in pretty significant flexion. One help was to break my knees sooner, and so it improved somewhat. But as you'll see on the reps 4 and 5, it's still an issue. Here's 275, which is 90% of my PR for 5. When I get into the ballpark of 300, it feels like the bar might roll over my head when I drive my hips. Here's a clip. Sorry about the camera angle. Okay, let's see. All right. Bar position looks good. Like real good. Wrists are straight. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, you're definitely breaking the knees first. And you got a little bit of knee cave. Yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed the description of your issue. All right, so here's the deal. You got too much weight on the bar. It's too heavy for you right now. And it was probably too heavy for you a little while ago, and you kept going up because you want to get back to your PR or whatever the reason. So it's normal. And you're probably training without a coach. So you had these little errors and you kept putting weight on the bar, and now they're big errors and you're going to have to take weight off the bar. So it happens to everybody who trains kind of in a vacuum without regular feedback. But these things that we're going to talk about, you're going to have to lower the weight to fix. Part of the deal, the flip side here is that you're going to hit a wall with this form. You're going to hit an artificial ceiling. Okay. And if you back off the weight and fix the stuff that we're going to talk about, although it's a step back, you will eventually blow past where you would have gotten stuck if you continue doing this, because this is going to fall apart on you pretty soon. Okay. And so you've got some knee cave, you got some balance issues, and all fixable problems. Like you've got the general concept down. You just need to dial in the order of things. And so I'm going to give you some tips to work on, and I want you to hopefully post a video next week so we can keep doing this, because it's going to take a couple sessions to dial it in. But first and foremost, like I said, your stance looks good. Your upper back is great. Okay. Like your bar position, wrist position, head position. Okay. You're setting. And then, all right. So here's the deal. So you're focused on the knee thing. You got to stop that, because it's not, I mean, there is a time to focus on the knees first cue. This is not it, or you've overdone it. So you're shoving the knees out first, but you're not leaning over, right? So some people lean over and don't shove the knees out. Some people shove the knees out and don't lean over. It's both at the same time. You have to lean over and shove the knees out at the exact same time. If you do one then the other, if you put your knees forward and then lean over, the knees go back, right? If you lean over and then put the knees forward, the chest lifts. Okay, so you have to lean over and shove your knees out simultaneously. Okay, because by the time you're here, you need to have set your back angle. And if you don't set your back angle, in other words, the angle you're going to take on the way up, that back angle, okay? And we'll talk about, before I forget, right? Head kicked back because the bar's rolling up. All of these issues are kind of stemming from the same thing. Knees caved in, right? So your knee was out here and it buckled. That meant hips went back, okay? And then chest went down, and then bar starts to roll, and then you kick your head back to save it. All the things you know are happening. It's all very common pattern, okay? And it stems from not having the position established by the halfway point, okay? So if we know that like that's kind of where you want to be, I do want your knee out more than this, right? I want it out here. And the knees is one of those things that they started caving a long time ago and you didn't fix it. So that the external rotators that keep the knees out have not gotten stronger. They have not adapted with the rest of your body. So you have to go back. This is why you have to go back. You have to take some weight off, and you've got to insist that those knees stay out and let them catch up strength wise. And it doesn't take very long. You know, you might have to back off 10%, something like that. You just got to go back and find a weight that you can do perfectly and then go up from there. So, but if this is sort of the back angle that you're going to assume on the way up, given your knees being out, you need to be in this position on the way down. Okay. You have to set this by the time you're halfway down so that when you come up, you can come straight up. Because if you haven't fully leaned over on the way down, then you're going to finish the leaning as you're trying to drive up. I just talked about this last week. I put up a clip on Instagram. We had another guy. It's like you have to lean over. So it's just like your knees have to get forward. If you don't get them forward by the halfway point, they're going to go forward at the bottom and pull you forward. If you don't lean over all the way by the halfway point, you're going to finish leaning over when you're supposed to be driving up, and you're going to get all kinds of balance issues that's going to cause the bar to roll and stuff like that. Okay. So let's figure out how we're going to fix it. All right. So the fix here, like I tell everybody, is see the head kicking, the rounding, this is all related. Okay. So this is me being a broken record again, but it works. So you need to understand what the bottom position feels like. Okay. The correct bottom position. To be locked and tight and balanced in the bottom position. And the way you're going to do that is with pause squats. Okay. So I'm repeating myself because I don't know if you've seen any of the other videos, and everybody else has heard this a million times. HORNSTRENGTH.com/videos, pause squat, bounce pause squat. You don't even have to worry about the bounce pause squat. You're going to go to the pause squat one, and there is a video of me doing a pause squat. There's a full description down here of the instructions. Okay. So basically easy. You take it down, you pause for 3 seconds. In the bottom position, you ask yourself, is my weight balanced over the middle of my foot, or am I on my toes or my heels? Are my knees as pushed out as they could be, or did they cave in? And is my chest up, arched and tight, or did I let it round and relax? Okay, if any of those things happen, if you can arch your back more, if you can push your knees out more, if you have to shift your weight back or forth to find balance, you make the correction, you sit with it during those 3 seconds, you register, this is it, this is correct, and then you come back up. Then the next rep, you go down, pause for 3 seconds. The goal is you can feel the corrections, and then after that rep, from, it's like a game, can I go right to the balance bottom position without having to shift around? Can I go perfect, right to balance, knees out, chest up, balance, and I don't even have to move. It's just me sitting there for 3 seconds thinking about whatever, because I know where the bottom is, okay? So if you go down to the bottom and pause and you haven't finished leaning over, right, you're going to feel that because you're going to go to your toes. If you go down to the bottom and you let your knees cave in, you're going to feel that, right? Because your weight's going to shift around and you'll see your knees cave in. So you can shove them back out, right? Just think about it this way. If I could walk over to you when you're sitting at the bottom of the squat, I mean, I used to do this all the time, but I would just make a client pause with light weight down at the bottom. And then I would walk up behind them and I would put my hands between their knees. And I just pull them out. If I can pull them out like that, they're not out enough. You didn't push them out enough. Okay. So pause squats, part of your workout from now on, forever. I do them every time. Empty bar for at least a set of 5, maybe a set of 10. And then usually my first set with weight, I'll pause a couple of those. So for you, it's going to be empty bar paused, and then maybe like 95 pounds. And you just need to learn what it feels like to be tight, that you can get to the bottom and just land in balance and not have anything loosen up or change. And then coming back up will take care of itself because you're already where you need to be. All you gotta do is push up, okay? All the problems are coming because you're not in that position when you arrive at the bottom. Things still need to move into place while you're and you're already coming back up, okay? So work on those go back to the empty bar, 95 pounds, maybe 135, and just work on feeling what it feels like to be tight and balanced at the bottom, okay? And then you can go on to your normal sets and just insist that you feel that position. If you don't, on one rep, be like, okay, you know what, that one, I noticed that my chest kind of rounded at the bottom. It didn't feel like my pause squats. Let me correct that on the next rep. In terms of weight, what I would do is once you have played with the pause squats and have that figured out, I would start just ascending sets of 5, okay? Until you find a weight where it starts to fall apart, and then go back to the previous weight, right? Or back off 10 pounds. Just find whatever weight, and it shouldn't be much. Maybe it's 225. I don't know. Maybe it's a 10% offset, whatever. But just back off as little as possible, but where you can hold that bottom position perfectly. And then go back up. But as you go back up, insist that it's correct. Do not just let your ego get in the way and chase more weight and just be like, it's not that big a deal, because we're going to have this conversation again at the same place. Okay, so fix this stuff, let the muscles that need to catch up, and then you'll be able to blow this away, right? If you're already at this weight with this form, when you fix these little errors that everybody has, you are going to lift serious weight. Okay, but you're never going to get there if you don't fix these problems. So I know it's frustrating, but we all go through it. Back it up, fix it, and then go back up, and you'll be good to go. So keep posting videos, man. I'll be here every week. If you want to if you think you got it next week, throw up another video. I'll take a look, and we'll just keep dialing it until we get it. But if you haven't posted before, it's good to have you here, and thanks for posting. I hope that helps. Okay, last one. Hi, Paul. The bench is my weakest link. My chest muscles are not developed at all. I have a plan to make it my second strongest lift after the deadlift. It should be your squat. If your bench is the second strongest lift after your deadlift, then you must not be squatting, or your squat has comments are much appreciated. All right, Amit, I don't know what that's about. Your squat should definitely be before the bench in terms of strength. All right, let's see what we got here. I mean, these are pretty good. Good. You're doing the thing that I was just drilling the other guy about, which is you are, if you notice that you're setting your chest up before you lower the bar. So the previous guy was doing it as he was lowering the bar. You're doing it. You're getting your chest up real nice, touching the right place. The feet look good, locked in, legs aren't moving. Grip looks pretty good. I can't tell from this angle the distance, but as you know, you're looking for vertical forearms at the bottom. So when the bar's touching your chest, your forearms are vertical, not like this, not like that. So you're going to have to judge that. I can't really tell from there, but if they're like this or they're like this, it's wrong, but I'm going to assume that that's correct. Head position is good. Cadence is good. I mean, these are very nice, man. I don't have a lot to correct here. I will tell you this, which I hammer on everybody for, which is don't get the collars off the bar. Okay? You don't bench press with collars. It's just, you don't want to end up alone in the gym. You collared it. It comes down. Maybe that day you set the safety down here by mistake, or someone left him on the other side of the room and you forgot, and you end up, and the plates won't slide off. So just out of habit, I know you're okay here. I know you have the safety set, but just don't get in the habit of collaring the bar for the bench press so you don't die one day. That's my PSA that I have to give every once in a while. Honestly, man, aside from that, I don't really have a lot to say here. These look pretty good. Everything is, you're just locked in, and you're locking out at the top and resetting. Yeah. Just light, man. I think you could go up more than that. So, yeah, let's see what's going on with this squat if you're up for another challenge, because chest muscles. Okay, well, we could talk about that. So the bench press, this version of the bench press is really shitty for developing your chest muscles because of the angle, right? It just doesn't do a good, like the powerlifting bench press does not develop the pecs very much. It's still an important lift, but with the arch and the shoulders pinched, you're actually trying to reduce the range of motion so you can lift more weight. You don't want to do that if you're trying to develop and fatigue as much muscle as possible. So it's a lot of shoulder, right? It's not a lot of pec. So most guys who have been training long enough understand that like the bench press is maybe like an ego thing where you want to bench 315 or whatever. But if you want pec development, you're going to have to work on some assistance exercises that actually, you're going to have to do a little bit of bodybuilding. So I don't know if I have a book. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. But if you go to my website, HORNSTRENGTH.com, and we go to Radically Simple Muscle, you can get it on Amazon. I just came out in print. But this is my book about incorporating strength training and bodybuilding. So it's kind of exactly what you're talking about. It's like, how do I still keep doing, the big lifts and getting them stronger, but I also want to do some assistance exercises, do a little bodybuilding. So you look strong and you are strong, right? So I talk about a lot about that in the book, different assistance exercises to incorporate. Dumbbell bench press is a great one. Incline bench presses are great. Dips are fantastic if you can tolerate them with your shoulders. And then some type of fly movement, right? Like cable flies, low to high flies, something like that. All of those things. The equivalent here is like the overhead press doesn't really build big shoulders, like aesthetically. It's a great exercise for your full body to do a heavy barbell overhead press. But if that's all you do, your shoulders aren't going to look very impressive. Just adding lateral raises, like dumbbell lateral raises, gets the lateral head to pop more on the shoulders. So it's like you do your heavy overhead presses because like that's good for strength and health and, you know, your overall core stability and whatever. And then you have your dessert where you do just a little bit of these lateral raises just so it looks better. Okay. And it's kind of the same thing with bench. Stick with your bench press, right? If you got a goal for where you want it to be. But then, you know, throw in some assistance exercises on a different day or after, grab some dumbbells, do some incline presses or something like that, do some flies, and over time you'll get a lot better chest development. So it's very common, and unfortunately the basic barbell bench press isn't going to fix it. It's still worthwhile, but you're gonna have to do some assistance exercises. So check out the book if you want some more ideas, or, you know, the internet's full of bros that will tell you how to pump your chest up. Just be careful, you'll go down a YouTube rabbit hole. Anyway, glad to have you here. Let's see some of your other lifts. Let's take a look at that deadlift. All right, guys, this was a marathon one. What do we do? Hour and 6 minutes? It's not bad. Thank you for joining me as always. And we're gonna do this again. I don't know if I'll be here next week, and we'll keep it going. So have a great weekend, stay warm, and I'll see you guys soon.